we're also trying to give you as many newsmakers as possible, and this man is exactly that, right in the middle of everything for the Philadelphia Eagles. The executive vice president and general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman, back here on the show. How are you, Howie?
Rich, I got to tell you, you guys have Drew McIntyre on next. I got two little boys, two of my four kids, who are going to be so excited to hear about Drew McIntyre. They are every day WWE watching, listening. I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm fired up for that.
Well, are they in the car right now, Howie? Sounds like you're driving in the car right now. Are they in the car right now with you?
Yes. They are not in the car. They're at school. We're back in school in Philadelphia, which is a beautiful thing.
Okay, because I would have introduced you as NFL superstar Howie Roseman if they were in the car. Just to give you the daddy
that's
points.
Awesome. You got kids. It's all about them. No doubt.
It's about daddy points too. Let's be honest. Come on, anytime you could
possibly
do it. Exactly. All right, boy, have you been in the middle of everything, man? I mean, let's walk through, if you don't mind, the first time you got a phone call from the Dolphins. And did they tell you that this was contingent upon something they were working with the Niners, and you had to keep all of that quiet way back in March? Like there was just like an NBA 3-team deal that was going on? Is that really what this was?
I know. It was exciting. I think we tried to talk about it theoretically. Hey, theoretically, would you guys move back if we move back and want to move back up? And then it gets to a point where you're going, all right, dude, like, you're going to have to trust me here because I'm going to have to figure out where you're going so I can figure out if we want to do it.
Right.
And I think that's the great thing about the relationships we have with those two teams is everyone trusted one another, and it really didn't get out until Zach Wilson threw.
That's pretty much it. Because, because you're like, why would you move out of 6 to go down to 12 if you didn't know who was coming up to 3 and for what and for who? You had to know.
Yeah,
so
we had to get all the information because we had to figure out, all right, here are the players that we want to come. I mean, we had a miserable year, right, Rich? Like, that wasn't fun. And certainly our country had a miserable year, more importantly. But we wanted to come out of this draft and get a difference maker, get someone who really would have huge impact on our football team. And we had to make sure that we were going to do that. And for us and where we sit right now, it's crazy to think, 3 years ago on this show talking about us being world champs. But we knew that for us to get a difference maker and to end up with an additional first-round pick in the 2022 draft where maybe things were a little bit more certain, made sense for our football team and our franchise.
Well, I mean, and obviously Eagles fans were lockstep with you in wanting to get a big-time playmaker or somebody who could make a difference. And when you traded out of 6, I think you're aware in your neck of the woods, people kind of flipping or freaked that you were giving up a chance of Pitts and Chase. And is there any sort of, solace that you take in the fact that subsequently, now in 2020 hindsight, neither would have been there at 6 anyway for you?
Well, I think that we had to make that part of the discussion when we were moving back. Like, what do we really think is going to happen? Obviously, we're not in the Atlanta Falcons or Cincinnati Bengals facility, so we don't know for sure. But when we went through, we thought there was a strong possibility that may occur. And for us, being able to get this pick and the certainty of the pick and knowing how hard those are to get during the draft, and knowing that we felt like there were a bunch of really good outcomes for us with that first-round pick, we made the decision. But I can't tell you there are moments that we were putting a lot of religion's prayers together.
I normally ask questions that I kind of know the answer to first, so I'm rolling the dice here. Have you ever made a trade with the Dallas Cowboys before? Was that your first?
One last year, actually. Huh. We moved back from the end of the 4th round to the top of the 5th and got a next year 5th, and then we made one with Coach Reed when we traded back in the 1st round, and they took Anthony Spencer, and we moved back to the 2nd round and took Kevin Cobb.
So this has happened before. This wasn't truly, man bites dog in a way. But was that something that you already had planned and that you pushed the button on and called up the Cowboys once DeVonta Smith was, available at 10? Or how does something like that work, Howie?
It's funny because in the week up to the draft, our PR guys who do an unbelievable job. Bob Lang, Brett Strosacker, they're unbelievable. They're telling me everyone thinks you're making all these calls to moving up, and I'm going, yeah, definitely making a ton of calls. We're making a ton of calls to the teams in front of us and the teams behind us, and that's our job, right? Like, we got to figure out what the opportunities are going to be. So, you're making all those calls before the draft to figure out who's willing, who's open. So you're not starting from scratch on the clock when, all hell's breaking loose. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. But
yes, you are. Absolutely, that works. Okay. And so that's how. But you don't exact the trade until you know that you get the call from NFL HQ to find out that the Broncos did not take the guy that you were willing to trade up to 2 spots to go get. Right. That's how that works?
Right. I mean, right. You kind of wait for it. We get to pick about a minute before it's announced, and then you kind of spring into action. And I think the one thing we were certain of was that it wasn't going to be the lightest draft capital going from 2 slots in the history of the draft, so we knew that wasn't going to happen.
Well, it's interesting.
We knew it wasn't going to happen for a 6th and a pile of cheesesteaks.
Right. But it's interesting you use the word lightest when you were referring to who you eventually took, and the concept about DeVonta Smith being 166 pounds soaking wet. The comp that actually came out of my brain, believe it or not, since I'm not usually in the business of player comps, that we put up on the screen on NFL Network was Allen Iverson.
I saw that in the mock draft. My sons, they showed me that, and I think that DeVonta is a unique player, unique person, and sometimes you get to this level and everyone's trying to go look for the perfect comp, but sometimes the guys that are really special players don't necessarily have that perfect comp, and that could be hard for us sometimes. When we talk about making selections and comparing players, but I think that's really important as we go forward to just look at what he does and who he is.
And so, who will he be for you? I mean, how do you envision with a new head coach and a new system coming in, or at least a new head coach with his system coming in? How do you envision a guy who's $166 being used in the National Football League?
Yeah, this guy can play all over the field. He can play inside, outside. He can be in the backfield. I think that when you talk about his skill set as a route runner, he's got unique length and really strong hands. And the fun thing with our offensive coaching staff and Coach Sirianni is when we talk about these guys, this is how it'll start. He'll go, all right, DeVonta Smith, and this is how we're going to use him, and these are the routes we're going to use him. And then when we're trying to kind of get back to the top of the mountain, we talk about what kind of characteristics we're looking for. And this guy, the toughness that this guy brings to the table, that you just see it. I mean, we drafted a kind of hybrid linebacker safety in the 6th round, Jacoby Stevens, and you watch plays like, I mean, he's trying to knock him out, and he pops right back up, it's like Dumby-like. So he's got unique toughness as well as a unique playing style.
Howie Roseman, GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, Executive Vice President here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your quarterback situation, I'll be honest with you, your new head coach saying that this is that you can't name one because everybody just got there, and it's Joe Flacco and it's Jalen Hurts. Is this not Jalen Hurts' gig here in Philly? Now we're post-draft?
Well, there's a lot to like about Jalen Hurts. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you go back to the reasons that we drafted him and the skill set that he provides and that he has, and really, you talk about another guy who exhibits exceptional toughness and how many games he won as a college football player, and then you watched him every day. You watched him get better. You watched him really get better from Alabama to Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma through the pre-draft process. And then when we got him on the grass, seeing him and how he got better. But when you talk about Coach Sirianni, for him, everything is earned. We feel great about Jalen, but he wants to have competition everywhere. And so, obviously, we got some veterans who have so many skins on the wall that, maybe that's not realistic to say. But Jalen's, and that's how he's always been. So I think that was kind of part of it. And certainly you're also talking about a week before the draft and not wanting to give all the answers to the test.
Right, I guess so. So Hurts obviously knows DeVonta Smith, and we know that. My gosh, I mean, I could go on and on with you for about an hour, and I appreciate you taking the time here as you're driving around. Carson Wentz, when did you realize that this wasn't working out anymore? Was it during the season? Was it during the season that's just like, okay, this is a wrap because of X, Y, and Z? That I'd love to know what you could fill in here. When did you realize that this had to, end?
There's been no bigger fan of Carson Wentz than myself, and really the Eagles organization. And you see it with what we did to trade up to get him and then extend him after we won the Super Bowl. And there was great communication with him and his team and his agents, who we have a great relationship with. And during the season, it was again not our most fun season, clearly, Rich. And so you're trying to get through it and get through the moment and not really have those conversations. And amazingly enough, really, we still had a chance towards the end of the season. But as we went past it and went through this coaching search and had more conversations with him as well and talked to him, and we probably realized that sometimes a fresh start is best for everyone. And if it would work out for our team as well as him, maybe that was the direction that we were going.
Well, and then combined with the pick you got from Miami and the trade that we discussed at the outset of this conversation, and your own, based on if Wentz works out in Indianapolis with Frank Reich as a reunion, and everyone expects that to work out that way, you could have 3 first-round draft choices next year, and that leads to a conversation amongst my colleagues that you can utilize that to get whoever you want at the quarterback position next year, or maybe even trade for somebody else who you can't talk about right now because you don't want to get fined. Is this a Jalen Hurts 1-year audition for the gig in Philadelphia, Howie?
No, I think when you look at it, you go back to us being in the Super Bowl in 2017 and then trying to run it back in 2018. And, man, there was a moment in that New Orleans game that I felt like we were going back to the championship game. And then the following year, we won the division. And we were doing some short-term things to win. And I feel like there are moments with your football team where you do whatever it takes. And certainly we were trying to do whatever it takes to win more than that, just one Super Bowl. And then we kind of got an opportunity here to maybe get our cap back right and to get a bunch of draft picks. And I think I saw that we have the most draft capital of any team in the league. So at the end of the day, we have the flexibility at any position to improve our football team going forward. And we're all proving ourselves at every position every day, including me, including everyone in our building, and getting that fire and passion back to make sure that works out.
No, and obviously, it could work out with Jalen, where he's just so supremely talented and he's used to having the pressure and then the crucible of Philadelphia. And then obviously that informs your choices of what you do with those first-round selections. I am mandated to ask you this because I asked it of Kyle Shanahan the other day when he was on the show. When you heard that Aaron Rodgers was upset and that report came out on Thursday, did you maybe make a YOLO call before the draft, just in the same way that Kyle Shanahan did to Green Bay? Howie?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Rich. We're not going to talk about anyone on anyone else's team and any names, but you know this. Our fans know this. It's our job to look at everything and any opportunities out there to improve, any avenue to make this team better. That's our job.
Okay, I'm mandated to ask you these questions, Howie. I'm just a curious guy sitting here, and you've been in the middle of everything. I mean, everything. What'd you say?
It's the crucible. The crucible. What'd you call it? The crucible of Philadelphia.
It is that.
That's gonna be the title of my book one day.
Well,
of Philadelphia.
I'll give you a blurb if you want a blurb, Howie. I'll give you a blurb.
I like that. Yeah, you know what our blurb is? Our blurb is walking around Lincoln Financial Field before the first ever home game. You and I.
That's right.
Lost.
I was just. I wasn't on NFL Network yet. Even that was not even.
No. I was not the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles either. So we've come a long way, my man.
We go way back. Thanks for the call, Howie. I greatly appreciate it. I know you got. I guess last one. Did you play rock paper scissors with Nick Sirianni? Because I haven't found anybody. I asked a whole bunch of prospects. Did you do that? Did he really do that, or is he joking?
Not only did I did it, but I beat his butt, and I'm not going to play again. I'm retired. I'm the king of rock, paper, scissors.
It's a walk-off. So was he being serious?
Walked off, and I told, and he was being serious because he's got a lot of competitive things going. But, for me, I beat him. It was 2 out of 3. I retired the champ. I dropped the mic. Game over.
Outstanding. All right. Very good. Best to your family, Howie. Thanks for the time. Greatly appreciate it.
Same to yours. Thank you.
You bet. That's Howie Roseman, GM of the Eagles. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.